Kathleen, when were you born? I need to ask this question.
January 5, 1924.
24. Okay, so we're talking 101. Is that right? 101 years old.
Yes.
Did you ever think you would get to 101?
Never thought about it.
No?
No.
What about when you were 100? You were like, well, let's see if we can get 101.
I remember, the children had a big party for me.
Okay.
They had a big birthday party when I was 99 and a half.
Okay.
Because they said they couldn't have one in January. And that's when I realized, and it was amazing. Hundreds of people came. It was just floored.
That's cool. So what is do you have a smell or a sound or even a food that reminds you of when you were a kid? Does anything come to mind?
Oh, so many foods.
Yeah? What's a food?
Oh, well, Sunday was always chicken dinner.
Okay.
And then my mother would make a gravy from the broth. There was a hen, usually.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
A roasting hen.
Okay.
So then she'd have all this broth, and then she'd make baking powder biscuits in that.
Oh, wow.
That gravy, and was that delicious.
Yeah, and that was every Sunday?
That was Sunday we had the chicken, but then Monday at noon when I'd come home from school, then we'd have that chicken broth with those dumplings.
Oh, that sounds... And that was when everything was homemade, nothing out of a box, right?
Nothing, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, goodness, no. Nothing out of a box. All homemade bakery, raised bread,
Yeah.
dough.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, that's
Everything.
awesome. What was something that you and your friends would do when you were younger? How would you spend your time? What kind of stuff would you do for fun?
Well, grade school, hopscotch, that was a big thing with my girlfriends.
Okay.
Hopscotch, jumping rope, individually, and then I don't know what we called it, but you'd have one here and the
With
one
the
on the
double?
other that you would jump
Yeah.
over, and then if you could double jump, that was get two ropes.
Were you pretty good at that, or
Two.
were you an all-pro double jumper, or?
Well, I never was good at athletics or
Okay.
jumping, and I had a lot of skin knees because you roller skated a lot.
Yeah.
That would be childhood, and high school was mostly high school activities. I loved high school.
Okay, what kind of things would you do in high school then?
Oh, Girls Athletic Association, I was active in that, but I was just in the acrobatics because I was the small one.
Okay.
So
So
I
would
was
they throw
always
you
the
up?
top of the pyramid.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And singing, vocal was the
okay.
main thing. And I loved school.
Nice.
I loved learning.
When I think of years and how long people have been alive, I'm a sports guy, so I always think back like, okay, so Babe Ruth hit 60 home runs in 1927. So you were 3 years old when Babe Ruth hit 60 homers. And of course, you've seen so much technology. Before we even started recording, you're talking about you're telling Alexa to turn off the music, Alexa. You got your cell phone.
Yeah.
What is one piece of technology or something that came out in your lifetime that surprised you the most, or something that just was like, wow, yeah, just like amazed you, maybe amazed you?
Well, I think how they can transmit it.
Mm.
For instance, you could take this and send it someplace else.
Right.
Or like my son said, could he have a video? Can he get a copy? I mean, but that to me is what's so amazing.
Mm.
And then just television.
Okay.
When television came out.
That was a big deal, huh?
And that's interesting. We lived over on 10th Street in an apartment, and we won a TV, a big console, which was about the size of that cabinet.
Yeah.
Won it at the KC Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Had $5 tickets.
Okay, yeah.
And the neighbors all came over to watch television at our house because we were the only one in the neighborhood that had a television.
And it was black and white, I presume,
black and white,
right? And how many channels? Maybe 3 or 4, or?
I remember two.
Two.
But there probably were, but I remember two.
Okay. Yeah, and so you were the popular
So,
at that time then, huh?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
What were some of the early shows that you remember watching?
I
that
don't
you really
remember the
liked?
name, but there was a children's show in Milwaukee. A lady came out, and she was very matronly looking, but she read stories to children.
Okay.
And she sat on a huge hassock in the studio and read stories. So the children always turned that on in the morning, and then to get the news at night.
Okay.
That was the
That
big
was a big
thing,
deal.
to get
All
the
right.
news.
What would be the biggest change that you've witnessed? Maybe like in the country, in the world, in the way culture is? Is there something that stands out as like, man, that was a big
Well,
deal?
as far as the world changing,
Yeah.
the world is so much smaller,
Mm.
and they can go to outer space.
Yeah?
That to me is still incredible. They travel to outer space.
Yeah, it's like it's smaller, but yet we made it bigger by expanding out, right?
Yes, but I did watch the first moon landing. Oh my gosh, yes.
What was that like?
Well, just amazing. And then it was just like looking at a picture.
Yeah. Would it have been at night when you watched it? Do you remember, or
No,
was
I
it during
watched
the
it on
day?
TV during the day.
Okay. Okay.
That's all I recall.
Interesting. Was there like this sense of pride and excitement?
No, just amazement.
Yeah,
For
just
me, it was just amazement.
okay. Really cool.
I think they can do that.
Yeah.
And it's only the beginning. I tell my little grandchildren they'll probably take their first date for dinner on the moon or something.
That's what I think with my kids. I'm like, you guys will probably just go to the moon like going to Hawaii, you
Yeah,
know? Like
sure.
it'll just be a vacation, right?
Because now the travel is so simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I want to talk a little bit about your faith. And that's how we met you, through church.
Yes.
Have you always been Catholic? Like when did you start to take your faith seriously?
Well, I was born Catholic,
Okay.
so to speak.
Okay.
So that's the way it was thought. I was born a Catholic. I was
Yep.
born in a good Catholic family. And it was just accepted. All my childhood friends were Baptist, Methodist, and Lutheran.
Okay.
And but I was just Catholic, and I just knew that the Catholics were the first ones. That I remember.
Yeah.
That was the only thing, that we were first. So, and then later I learned, of course, about that the communion I really didn't understand. I just remember when I made my first communion, I couldn't talk for a day. I wasn't.
Really?
Bishop said you can't talk for a day, other you might sin.
Interesting. Huh.
So
Wow.
he was a very strict German priest
Okay.
in Sheboygan Falls.
Okay. It's kind of cool that they would take it so seriously. I think a lot of people kind of take it for granted now, you know how.
And but I never forgot that. Never
So
forgot
was that hard for you to not talk for a day?
Yes, because I talk a lot.
So I grew up Catholic as well, and it was just something I took for granted. And then when I was got into college is when I started to really take my faith seriously. Was there a point in your life where you really kind of took it seriously, or was it always from the very beginning? You were just
Well, it was
like,
always
it's
from
important.
the very beginning, and I took part in whatever church activity, like the Catholic women, like charity when I was older, and then there was I don't know what we called our group when we were in high school. We had a group that we went over to church after school, and Father gave instructions. But I just always was, and never thought differently of it. When in my friends' churches, we all wanted to go into each other's churches because we weren't allowed to.
Okay.
When I was in freshman, I remember that I was sang with a quartet, a trio, and had to get permission. We were supposed to get permission to go in that church, Baptist church, and sing.
Interesting.
And the priest would say, "No, you can't do that. You can't sing in the Baptist church." Well, I did anyway.
A rule breaker even
I
back
thought
then. Huh?
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting.
So, but I remember.
Well, it does seem like, years ago, our entire society was a little bit more welcoming and supportive of people having faith. Where nowadays it feels like it's, you know, 'cause I remember my parents and my grandparents talking about, you know, everything they did at the church. Their Friday nights, and the society was just geared around spending social time at the church. And now we don't have that.
And it went around church holidays.
Yeah.
And my two girlfriends, like, they'd always celebrate some of the church holidays with me. They were Lutheran, but we were just so close, and well, to us it didn't make any difference.
Do you have a time in your life that you'd be willing to share, like when you felt closest to God? Like, is there something that stands out?
Oh, when my daughter died. That was 5 years ago.
Okay.
And that was because I couldn't understand it. I couldn't accept it. I still can't.
Yeah.
A child should never go first. Remember?
That's what they say, right?
That's an old saying.
Yep.
But that was the hardest, and that's all I could hang on to.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. But you felt close to God in that time. You felt.
Oh, I did. Well, as you say, that's all I had.
Yeah.
I was angry. Not angry much, a little bit, but just, it was so hopeless, so fruitless, so pointless that she should die.
Yeah.
And then, the war years were hard.
The war years, yep.
The war year, World War II.
Did you have someone close to you that served? I had 4 brothers. Wow, okay.
And
for World War II, did you say?
World War II. Well, one was Korea, but World War II, there were 3 brothers, and we didn't know where they were most of the time. And they were in the thick of it, and they all came home.
Wow.
And then the man who I married and knew and figured I'd marry, he was in the war. I mean, came home.
So were you dating at the time when he went for war? Or?
I had met him, so then we corresponded. I was only 16 when I met him.
Okay.
My mother let me go with my brother to a dance, to an Easter dance.
Okay.
It used to be an Easter dance there wasn't the Palladium. It used to be downtown Sheboygan.
Okay. Huh.
So anyway, that's where I met him. And
yeah, well, that would have been a good time to have email and text messages, right? I can't imagine you guys, they're overseas and you have no idea.
You'd get a letter, and it was all censored. And many of the letters were photographed, censored, photographed, and so instead of getting the written letter, you got a little piece of paper about this big that they had photographed, censored it, and photographed, because you couldn't know where they were.
So let me ask you this: Do you have a favorite saint? Is there a certain saint that you've always?
Oh, St. Francis.
St. Francis. How come?
Well, he liked the birds and the animals, and I love the St. Francis prayer.
Okay. Make me an instrument of your peace.
And the other is Elizabeth Seton.
Okay. Now, why her?
Well, I went to school in St. Mary's in Milwaukee, and that was the Daughters of Charity, which is Elizabeth. And her history is so interesting. And of course, I was delighted when Holy Name chose Seton for the school.
That's a pretty good patron for a school, isn't it?
Oh, yes, because she started education. She was married, had a family, then became, she's a role model for many. So I guess the combination of things and the Daughters of Charity are very close to me with the big swan hats. Yeah,
that's cool. So is there something that you wish that young people today, we talk about the school, and this is the season there's going to be some kids getting confirmed. What's something that you wish that young people knew about God or the church that maybe you think they miss?
Well, I don't know if they miss or if they aren't being taught it. I don't know. Or they don't see it in their life. I don't know. Materialism has taken over. That, if you had to put it in one word, I would say everything is material, you know. What are you going to have? Make money. What can you buy? Is it the greatest style?
Mm.
Or go to see some rock star or
Mhm.
something.
Yep.
So I really don't blame the children, because we as a society have taught them that.
Mm.
But I wish that they would just enjoy what they have around them in their own life.
Mm.
The life they're in, how fortunate they are.
Yeah.
And so many today young people or people do not appreciate what we have here in this country and God-given world. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't even think about it, it seems.
Yeah. It's really easy to take for granted,
Yes,
isn't it?
yes, just take it for granted.
Mhm. Would you say that's where the culture is most off track? Like if we could just
It
get
is.
to be a
It
little bit
is.
less materialistic or a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
less, we'd be in a different spot. Huh?
absolutely.
Mm.
It's a culture, and it's the me to be egotistical
Mhm.
and want to be recognized, and that's the world.
Yeah.
Who do we admire? The
The
richest,
celebrities, the rock stars, the athletes,
the
right?
sports,
Mhm.
whatever. So if they would only realize just what they have.
Yeah. What about, you talk about like appreciating what we have now. What is something that we have now as a society, as a human race, whether it's technology or something that you couldn't have ever dreamed of as a kid that you think we take for granted? Is there something that's like, man, this is, and maybe it's
Well,
just
I think
like
technology.
technology, to say like being able to
Oh,
send
goodness.
movies and emails
Yes.
to each other, and yeah,
Technology.
yeah,
The ability to communicate and travel.
mm,
It's amazing to me
yeah, how far we've come.
how
And,
far we've come, yes,
Yeah.
and what you can do with it.
yeah, it's pretty remarkable thinking about it. I do a lot of traveling in planes going all over the country, and it just
Sure.
how it can be somewhere across the country in less than a day, and you take it for
I
granted.
even thought the other day I was reading something and I didn't know the word. So I thought I'll look in the dictionary, and then I thought, well, I don't have to use the dictionary.
Yeah, yeah, we've got these little
I use
phones.
my tablet, you know.
Yep. It's a
And
dictionary. It's a
looked
video
it up.
camera. It's a
Yeah.
telephone. It's all these things.
But I
Right?
remember buying a good dictionary.
Did you have? We had in a set of encyclopedias.
Oh,
Was
yes.
that, that was.
I saved money for that.
Yeah.
To buy encyclopedias.
Yep. That was where all the information in the world was right in those set of
Yes,
books, right?
And we almost had to have it because your children had to write reports.
Yep.
And if you didn't have encyclopedias,
Yeah.
you weren't able to.
You didn't know anything, right?
No.
All right. Well, I got a couple more questions for you. What would be a piece of advice that you would have to a young person who's just starting out based on your experience? Like maybe someone who's just getting out of college or they're just starting a family. What advice would you have for them?
Oh, goodness. Well, you must have a deep passion and goal for something. And go for it. Go for it. You have to put it off, but don't ever give it up.
That's good advice.
Yeah, I think just look to yourself and what is it you really want, and don't settle for less.
Yeah. Did you follow that advice?
I did.
Yeah.
I had to make some adjustments, and I settled for different things.
Yeah.
Wasn't my initial goals, but I did, and I'm very fortunate and very happy the life I was given.
What was one of the biggest dreams that came true for you?
That came true?
Yeah.
Never thought of that. The biggest dream that came true. I have so many things that have come true. Well, that I was able to go on to school, I think.
Okay. To college?
To college, and because the financially, my parents couldn't help me. And I just got a job, ice cream shop, and went to the extension in Sheboygan. That was the beginning of the University of Wisconsin.
Okay. And what did you study?
Well, that first year I just took liberal arts. I wanted to go to nursing.
Okay.
And that's what I did then.
Okay.
But I was too young. And then I went to St. Mary's in Milwaukee, because that's a 3-year religious program. And you work for your room and board, so to speak. And it didn't cost too much. And then I just kept going on to school.
Yeah.
Got scholarships and
worked hard. Worked at the ice cream shop, huh? That was what got you there.
That was the first job I had. Yeah.
Well, you know, the last thing I just want to know, like, we've just known you for a couple years now, and you just strike me as a very joyful person, and I think that's probably why your longevity has been such a thing, is that joy. So, you know, obviously we talked a little bit about some of the hardships that you've had,
yes,
and
there's always hardships.
Yeah, what keeps you hopeful?
Well, just that life is so good. I mean, I look around and I think, my goodness, look what we have, the nature. I think here I am in my own home, and just God has just blessed me. I don't know. Every morning I'll say, I'm still here. Why? You know, I just feel very, very blessed and fortunate. But if you don't have faith, you don't have anything.
It's true.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Well, it's a great testament that here you are, 101 years old, and anyone living now might be tempted to say, oh, this world, there's no hope. We're
oh my goodness,
going to hell in a handbasket, and here you are saying life is good.
Oh, it is. Well, the world's in a mess right now.
Yeah,
it is.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. People have to change it.
Yep. That's our job, right?
Yeah, that's their job. But it's so much joy. Life is not easy at all. But you don't concentrate on that.
Focus on the good stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for taking this time to chat with
you.
us. This has made my day. So thank you.
Well, I had no idea. I said, I don't know why they want to talk to me. I said, it isn't me, it must be my age.
I think it's pretty clear that it's more than just your age. And I think anybody watching will see you got something special.
So fortunate, so fortunate.